Good morning, Art Talk listeners and the biz listeners. We're back with the segment. Susana Baker is my name, and I'm so happy on this wonderful sunny morning here in Miami. And so I have such a special guest for my listeners. This is an extraordinary person, one of the most famous, legendary photographers in the world. And I'm honored this morning to introduce my friend, Bert Stern. Good morning, Bert.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
It's so good to hear your voice, and it's so great to know that along with Bert Stern is also director, producer, and writer Shanna Leimeister. How are you? Good morning, Shanna.
Good morning.
I'm
Thank
so
you. It's great to be here.
I am so excited, and for all our listeners, they are excited as well. I mean, there is a brand new debut film coming out on April 5th at all the theaters around the country. But here in Miami, we are so happy that Tower Theater in 8th Street, as well as O Cinema, will be showing Bert Stern, the original Madman, which is an unconventional documentary. Bert, tell me how Shanna got you to do this, because I know you're a very quiet person. You hate to be photographed, and to see a documentary come out, well, I was so happy. But tell me, what made you decide to do a documentary?
Well, I met Shauna when she was 13, which is a long time ago, actually. And
Not that long ago.
and then at 15, I did a picture of her at 13, which didn't work out so well because she had braces on her top and bottom, so she looked like Jaws. So I didn't think she would make a model. But 2 years later, when she was 15, she called me up and said, would you photograph me again like Marilyn Monroe? And I said, sure, meet me in Central Park on the big rock by the rowboats. And I did a picture of her, which was absolutely gorgeous. And from then on, we kept photographing on and off for years and years, every few months, until we built up a huge archive of pictures of Shauna, which maybe exceeds the amount of pictures I did of Marilyn. I'm sure it exceeds it by now, which we've never done much with. They're still in their original form. And then, as Shauna grew older, not real old, but older, and Paris, a museum in Paris called the Malo Museum, asked to have a show of my Marilyn pictures, which they had seen in Tel Aviv, in Israel, and wanted the pictures I did of Marilyn for a show in Paris. And I said, sure. I had never had a museum show of Marilyn, and I asked Shauna to come with me. And she said she'd love to, and then she got decided that she wanted to make a movie about me. She turned the camera on me.
Turn the camera around, and I can't wait to see it. I honestly can. On a personal level, I met you at a very young age also.
Yes,
And
tell me about that.
we were at a health club when we met back in 1975.
Wow.
So I have to tell you, you have touched so many lives, and your remarkable images that are just remarkable and memorable. I mean, starting as a mailroom boy at Look magazine, and then your life changed by meeting Stanley Kubrick as a young man, as a young photographer at Look. Afterwards, at the young age of 25, you were the most celebrated photographer in the world. I mean, everybody from Madison Avenue to Hollywood wanted Bert Stern. Your creativity in your commercial photography, I mean, they're just museum pieces. I mean, who can't remember the Smirnoff Pyramid for the driest vodka of all? Smirnoff never sold so much vodka. Then you continue with some of the best portraits of celebrities. With me as your young protege, which I was with you as well, back and forth with Ado Mexico. I'll never forget how I saw Mexico like I think no prince or king has ever seen it when we were trying to you were shooting the commercial. but I have to tell you, the silhouettes you took on the beach, the mirrored images. I mean, this was way before Adobe, way before anything digital. So you just had that eagle eye. Now, I'm interested, Shauna, to ask you, when I saw the title, Original Madman, where did that come from?
Well, I originally had named the film something else, but I didn't like the title. And I think that, the fact that obviously Bert Stern is...
The interview with the advertising guy. Della Femina.
Della Femina, also, he's so cute. He's like reminding me. Della Femina had, in an interview, said he was the original Madman, and that stuck in our head. Now, I, of course, was having... When people saw the film, they had all kinds of prospects from the title it was called, and so I finally realized, well, it's a double entendre, Madison Avenue Man and Madman, and that sort of fit who Bert is because, as you know, he's got...
Yes, he does, and I love it. I love the title, and actually, I met Bert when...
and Della Femina was the one who mentioned it.
Yeah, and I love it. Bert, I think it fits you perfectly.
It really does.
It really
and
does.
By the way, when I changed the name, the movie, the reception to the film also changed. It was much warmer.
Oh.
And it wasn't the title. It was because people could go in, and now they knew what they were. It fit the movie more. Now they knew what they were going to see.
So,
and you realize that titles say a lot about films because it's an expectation sometimes by a title.
So just for my audience, Shauna Leumeister is the director, writer, and producer. And Bert Stern, of course, it's his life. It's a very unconventional documentary. And it really documents in a definitive journey the rises, the falls, the reinvention of Bert Stern. I was very fortunate at a young age to meet Bert when one of his first rises of many and reinventions when you were just coming back by doctor's orders to do some exercise and to go to a health club and to meditate, exercise, and to get back into the system. And I was working out at an aerobics class while you were looking at me from the mirrors. And it was an interesting journey, and that'll be a whole nother show. But getting back to this documentary, you have Louis Armstrong, Scarlett Johansson, Allegra Kent, Lindsay Lohan, Madonna, Sophia Loren. I mean, a cast of hundreds. I mean, and then Shauna, you're an award nominated from the Cambridge Film Festival. You got the Audience Award nomination from the Florida Film Festival. You got the Grand Jury Award nomination. I mean, I have to tell you, you also came from front of the lens to the back of the lens, and Bert went from the back of the lens to in front of the lens, which is really interesting because you were an actress. I mean, you are an actress, and you did New York police, NYPD, the TV series. You've also done under your belt. You've Bullets Over Broadway, Nobody's Fool, Echoes of Enlightenment, Vegas Vacation, to name a few. And now you've gone behind the lens to write, direct, and produce a couple of documentary movies, short films like No Destination. But this one, how do you feel with this film? How did you get Bert? I know I heard the conversation shooting in Paris. I mean, how did this culminate your whole relationship after so many decades of knowing Bert to see him and to direct him? Was he easy to direct?
No.
I knew it.
It's my greatest achievement. I think that, Bert and I's our relationship, what is sort of behind the lens, and the transference was kind of a way to extend and deepen the relationship in lots of ways because we had been shooting so long. And now it got to a point really, to be quite honest with you, I just became obsessed with his story. And though I just thought his story had to be told, and if I didn't tell it, who would? And it's, because you know him. He has an amazing story.
He's an amazing individual.
Yeah, and only he can tell it. However he tells it, right or wrong, whatever you think, it's his
It's Bert.
story, and it's
It's
so
Bert,
unique.
the
And
original
it had to
Madman.
get out there, and who was going to get it out there? So
I'm so
I
excited.
just decided that I would. I mean, did I really know I would come this far when I started 7 years ago, 6 years ago? Maybe not,
Wow.
but I just kept going and going, and Bert. He resisted. He did all his things, but it was like.
And it's happening. It's happening now on April 5th. It's original Madman.
Yeah.
All my ArtTalk listeners, I have to tell you, you have to go out there and see this unbelievable human being that has metamorphosed in all stages of his life. I mean, to see someone who just continues to reinvent himself, that creative edge, to take it to the next level when you think, well, that's it. That's the best we've seen of Bert. He surprises you. I mean, Bert, I have to tell you, what is your, after this movie comes out, what are your goals next? What do you see yourself doing next?
The next step is archiving.
Archives.
To take all this years and years of photographs of so many things and people and to put it in a form so that it could be given to a museum or museums and create a permanent archive. Yesterday we had lunch with the new director of the Eastman Kodak Rochester
George Eastman House
Museum, and we're going to go up there in August and
that's great.
See that museum and discuss.
Well, I have to tell you, it's funny how life goes around in a circle.
Isn't it?
I can't even, this man, Bert Stern, touched my life at the age of 10 years old, by the way.
Really?
10 years old. I was sitting watching a commercial on TV, and one of the youngest
not
ones.
In the gym, I see.
No, honestly, I'm a kid from the Bronx, Puerto Rican, poor as can come, and I was sitting on the TV, watching TV, and out came this lady with the navy blue leotard, and with her nose she touched the bottle of Noxema as she twisted her legs behind her ears, and I saw it, and I was so enamored by it and amazed, and I went onto the rug, and I started to do the same thing, and I actually did it, and I was in shock, and I called my family in, and I started to do all these twisting motions of putting my legs behind my neck. And I became special. My family saw me like, look at what Susie could do. And from house to house, from party to party, it was my first feeling of being different and special. And so with that said, I met Bert 10 years later, 17 years old, and he wanted to know how I learned that. And I told him, and he said, that was the very first commercial I shot with my ex-wife, Allegra Kent. From there on, we had a very cosmic, and still do, and I want to talk to Jorge Perez from the museum here in Miami, opening up also. We'll have a continued conversation. To all listeners, we're going to break soon, so I want to tell everybody, Bert, I love you. God bless you. Continue strong. Shanna, continue doing what you're doing. I celebrate you both. I celebrate you, Bert Stern, every day of my life from the moment I met you. I, too, want to talk to you and Shanna about maybe a couple of things here in Miami. We love you. Anything you want to say to our audience before we leave, Bert?
I said it was a wonderful interview, and thank you so much for arranging it.
Okay, can I say something quick? Okay, number one, it's great to be here. Thank you, Susie or Susana. Also, if you don't know Bert, which now you will, you'll know his pictures. That's what I want to say.
Go to what's the website? Can you tell everybody the website?
The website is BertSternOriginalMadman.com, or you can go to BertSternMadman.com and check us out on Facebook, like us on Twitter, and all the social media. We'd love that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Go to see Bert Stern, the original
movie.
Madman.
Bye.
Go to the movie April 5th, Tower Theater, O Cinema in Miami Shores. Do not miss it. This is a man you want to know.
Okay,
you know his